Welcome to Redesigning Health and Home. I'm Meg.
And I'm Kerri. We are two women in our 50s with a passion for creating beautiful, functional spaces and living healthy, vibrant lives. So join us as we chat about simple, practical ways to take care of your body, mind, and home. Whether it's fitness tips, home decor ideas, recipes, or parenting adult kids, we're here to share what works and what doesn't with a whole lot of encouragement along the way.
Let's redesign life together, one step, one room, and one habit at a time. Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Redesigning Health and Home. Today, I'll be interviewing our very own Kerri, our co host on the mic, on some refreshing spring ideas for your home. Kerri, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Meg. I'm doing so well. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. It's nice and sunny here in the Pacific Northwest, which is
Yes.
fabulous.
Good. Yes, we have sunshine in the suburbs of Chicago as well. And it makes me very excited because this weekend is our spring ahead daylight savings happening this weekend. And so I think
Woohoo!
our conversation is timely in the sense that, it stays a little kind of mucky outside for a bit and a little cool just yet to get out in the yard and that sort of thing. But as soon as the weather changes, we're going to want to do that. So talking about some changes that we can make to the inside of our home right now before that warm weather comes, I think is very fitting at this point.
Well, I am so excited to have this conversation with you. So, why don't we go ahead and just dive right into the questions? So, Kerri, what are some ways we can change our home from that cozy winter feeling to maybe a little more lively spring?
Yes, I love that question. So I actually like to think about all five senses when we're talking about decorating. And so one of the senses that I think gets a little overlooked, but spring is a great time for it, is the scents that we use in our candles and our soaps and diffusers and that sort of thing. Soon we're going to be opening up those windows and letting the fresh air come in. But now we can start hunting for those fresh, citrus scents and all those wonderful florals. So scents for sure. And then another thought I had about one of the five senses is talking about sound. So when we're shut in the wintertime, we're relying on the sounds that come from, our iPods or whatever, or the TV or whatever we're listening to at the time. But I love the thought of bringing in some chimes, some wind chimes, or maybe a water feature or something trickling. I know my sister loves to bring, she puts out a ton of bird feeders to bring the birds close to the house and all that kind of stuff. So that's a great thing for sounds. And then of course for sight, we're lightening things up. We're kind of getting away from the really heavy fabrics like velvets and chenilles and that kind of stuff that we cozy up with in the wintertime, and we're looking to a little bit lighter fabrics like cottons and linens and rayons and that sort of thing. So that helps to visually lighten things up, but also, feel a little bit cooler on our skin as we're sitting on our couch and all that sort of thing. And then greenery is just right. That's what we all are craving right now, is some greenery. So whether it's real or faux, doesn't matter. Everybody kind of lives on one side or the other of the fence, whether or not they like faux greenery. But I'm all about that. You can't kill faux greenery, so I'm good with that. So picking up a bouquet, a little tussy-mussy from the grocery store, or a little bouquet just to bring in some color to get us to when the real plants are coming in, and adding, whether it's botanical prints that you can hang on your wall or set on your console table or whatever. Just bringing greenery in any way that you can will really lift our spirits, I think. And those are kind of my, initial thoughts of things that we can do. I think we're going to talk about more specific rooms in a moment here. So that's my thought right now.
Well, that's fabulous. That's kind of a template, I think, the five senses. I haven't even thought of that. That's amazing, right? Because you could probably just list that out and jot in some ideas for
Sure.
yourself,
Yeah.
especially if you're a novice or you have no,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know, fashion, I don't want to say fashion sense, but no creativity in that space that you're a professional in. but to use that template to just fill in a few things in each. And I bet bada bing, bada boom, you've got
Yeah,
a
yeah, it's
refresh.
a very easy framework, right? So
Yeah,
sight, sound, touch, taste. And now I didn't include anything about taste, but as we're planning our outdoor spaces for grilling and dining al
right.
fresco, right, we can start to think about all those yummy things that we're going to prepare and enjoy in the warm weather. And so, yeah, it's a good template or a good framework to start thinking about how to build out your design.
That is a fantastic idea. I love that. And I'm probably going to steal that. So
Awesome. I hope
maybe
you do.
I'm already, my wheels are turning. Now, I know before we do this, we probably need to do what everyone has heard the phrase spring cleaning.
Yep.
So you probably need to clean out the old to before you can bring in the new. But what does spring cleaning mean to you?
Yes. So to me, it means decluttering, doing some deep cleaning, and then refreshing some of my decor. So I start by making a list, and we just want to tackle this in bite-sized pieces, right? Like imagining, spring cleaning the entire house probably makes us all feel a little bit like, oh no, a little daunting. But if we break it up either by task or, by room, I think into bite-sized pieces, it's more manageable. And like I said, we've got some time now before the real warm weather hits. So one of the things I want to do is bring that light in. And so whether you're going to wash the windows or hire somebody to do it, right? Maybe scheduling your window washer to come in the next month or so, moving that furniture, vacuuming behind, under the cushions, vacuuming all the upholstery. I like to, deep clean all that stuff, get the cobwebs up, off of the ceiling if there's any there. Maybe even get your carpet shampooed or shampoo them yourself. Kind of look around the rooms with fresh eyes and see if there's any repairs that need to be made or touch up of paint, or maybe you want to even add a fresh paint to your wall for the season. So that's kind of what spring cleaning means to me. But I also love, adding some new decor pieces as well.
I love that. So just like the template you gave for the five senses, now I'm probably going to be throwing this out to you
Okay.
without knowing, but would there be for someone that has no clue where to even start with spring cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
would you have any sort of novice guide to the spring cleaning for someone that has no idea of where to even start with that?
Okay, yeah. Well, of course, there's tons of information online. Pinterest is a great resource as well. But I would just say, kind of think of it from the top of the room down. And the very
Perfect.
first thing I would start with is decluttering. So go into your space and look around again, try to with fresh eyes. The less items or things that we have to manage in our life, physical items we have to manage, it just frees up time and mental energy. So let's find a different home for the things that don't belong in that room. Let's get those out. Whether you're keeping them or not, get them out. Put them in the proper room. If you're going to donate them, pop them right into your trunk, take them today. Get it right out of the house. Or, if you're going to donate or have a trash bag ready or whatever. But yeah, decluttering, I would say, even if that's all you did, you would feel so much better with just the decluttering. And then, kind of work top down. So get the dust bunnies off the ceiling in the corners if you have any. Get those windows washed. I think that makes a huge difference. Clean up that furniture and then get to the floors. And I think every house is a little different, but that's usually how I look at mine.
Oh, that's fantastic. You actually reminded me just the decluttering or donating.
Mm-hmm.
I had a neighbor, she had a huge box in her garage all year long.
Mm-hmm.
So once it was filled, she'd just take it to
Yes.
donate it. And then that box would come back empty and it would just
Mm-hmm.
stay right outside their
Yeah.
garage door.
Yes.
And the kids, they would just fill it up. So,
Yeah, yeah. We have
well,
a shelf
awesome.
in our garage. We have the donate shelf in our garage.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah, just a
fantastic.
dedicated
Okay.
spot, right? Yeah.
I now have a donate shelf. I love this. Okay, I'm going to do it. Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. So declutter city over here
Yes.
for the nice spring season to come.
Yes.
Now for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, 2025 sounds so
Right?
futuristic. But
It
are
does.
there any trending color palettes or even just trends in general that
Mhm.
homeowners should think about?
So, whether you like to jump on trends or not, just taking a peek around at what's in your local home goods and that sort of thing is just a fun little field trip. But also, a resource that I really love is a few of my favorite websites have lookbooks. And whether you shop with them or not, it's free to look at their lookbooks. So, Pottery Barn has a great collection of lookbooks, and it's broken down into four different kind of design styles, I would say. And what I'm seeing on there is so much fresh green, a really beautiful shade of green this year, lots of blue. Blue is a very cool color. And so in the hot months, we tend to like blues and greens because it feels very fresh and cool to us. But there's also some nice kind of, I would say, warm rose kind of pink colors out
Ooh,
there as
pretty.
well. Yeah. Um, but I don't like to get too tied into trends. If you really love yellow or you really love red, you should go with what you really love and not worry too much about the trends. Um, Another website that has some great lookbooks is Anthropology and Shop Terrain. Those ones are really great too, just for inspiration, even if you don't buy single thing from there. It's just fun to, take a little peek around. And it might remind you what you already have in your home,
Sure.
or maybe some, a couple little purchases that you would like to get for this season just to freshen things up a bit. So
Okay, so if this is on the website, we would go to Pottery Barn and
yeah.
just search lookbook, or how would you take it
So if
step
you
by
go to
step?
Pottery Barn and you go to their menu, I think it's pretty close to the top. It actually says lookbook, and you click
Oh,
on that, and
perfect.
there's four different categories. A little bit different design styles, and of course they have all kinds of furniture, but also accessories, and it's very well done. So it's a nice place to look.
Okay, and it's specific to the new season coming ahead.
Yes, yes. And this is
Amazing.
items that they carry, right? Um, but it's also the colors of this year, and so you're going to find those colors, in most of the stores. So, yeah. So that's
Super.
yeah, good place.
Now, how about within those lookbooks or for you personally, are there any must-have accessories for this coming spring?
Well, we moved a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, a couple of our really big planter pots for outside got broken, and
Mm.
so I've been seeing like the most beautiful, big plant pots in like the most gorgeous shades of blue and green, and that's kind of my color palette, to be honest with you, for outdoors, is green and blue. But then to throw a fun one in like a coral or like a bright fuchsia, just for that surprise color, would also be fun. So definitely some plant pots. Don't forget lighting in spring and summer. We've got more daylight, but it's great to add any light that you can. It's just so magical, whether it's candles or solar lights to light the path out to your dining, or hanging from a tree or whatever. So I would say lighting for sure. And then, maybe take a look at what you already have and see if you need to freshen anything up. And, swap out maybe, how about like your entry rug, for example? Those get pretty grungy. And so buying a new entry rug and a pretty wreath for the front door and a couple of plant pots, and you've got, such a welcome, inviting entryway for your guests and your family. So,
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Now, speaking of the planters and your wreath outside,
mhm.
what are some other ways you can bring this lively spring feel to your outdoors?
So I don't know if you've been noticing, but it is already out. Like you go to the stores and the spring items are already out, and it's so exciting. I love going to the, Lowe's and Home Depot and that sort of thing and seeing all the new seating and that kind of stuff. So I also like to grab items while there's still plenty on the shelf, because everybody's as excited as we are about spring. And so I think it's a great time right now to review what you have, what needs repair or cleaning or maybe even replacing of your spring things, and then choose an inspiration piece to kind of jump from there. So for example, if you have an outdoor area rug that you love, you might pull some colors out of there, to add some accessories, or you might add that surprising pop of color, that's not in your color palette, just as an example. And do you need new seat cushions for those chairs? How do those look? Or just some toss cushions. Like we mentioned the plant pots. That's a great way to add in some nice, fun color. So that's what I like to do, is just add a few accessories, that kind of speak to me and that get me excited for setting up the outdoor stuff.
I love that. So, just a recap about the five senses and reviewing lookbooks
Mm-hmm.
and bringing in the color palettes for the season. Do you have any? You mentioned Lowe's and Pottery Barn.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a tier of stores that maybe you think, Pottery Barn might be high end, but maybe not within somebody's budget? Do you have other places that you like to shop that might be
Sure.
a little more
Yeah.
financially friendly?
Yeah, for sure. So if you're going to actual stores, of course, depending how large your town is, you might have more or less access to those. But I mentioned Home Goods already. At Home is another store that's quite common that you can find. Those Kirkland's, those types of home decor stores are very budget friendly. Target, surprisingly, has quite a lovely outdoor section and a home decor section as well. And Walmart has really upped their game as well, as far as, offering some very affordable items as well. So, and then Wayfair, Wayfair's got lots of stuff. It'll come right to your door, and they have a real price ranges on their website.
That's fantastic. Now, just one or two more questions.
Mm-hmm.
For our bedrooms are such a special place,
Mm-hmm.
our place
Yeah.
where we get our rest and relaxation for
Yeah.
most of us, if
Yeah.
we're so lucky to do so. But
Yeah.
how can you make your bedroom just such a special place moving from winter to spring?
Right. And I agree, even though it's not a public space where your guests are necessarily going to ever see, it's like you mentioned, where you start and finish your day. And so I think it's really important. Again, let's declutter that. Let's give it a nice deep clean, but then let's freshen up the bedding. Everybody's got all their cozy layers on right now, but I like to swap out the heavy duvet with a quilt and put layers underneath it that can be taken on and off as the weather's going to be kind of up and down for the next, March is crazy. You never know what you're going to get.
Sure.
So having those layers, but also freshening up the palette a little bit, a couple toss pillows. You don't have to have a lot of pillows, but something just to make it feel a little special, like you're going to a hotel. Right? We all love how it feels to go to a hotel. So bring that into your own space. And again, the five senses. What scents would you like if you're not allergic? Are there any scents that you would like to put in there with incense? One of those diffusers. Those are real nice and very subtle. The hand soaps that we use, the candles that we use. That's a great way to bring it in. And, again, freshening up those windows, whether it's with a window treatment or maybe just washing those windows and those blinds, so that, you've got a nice fresh and clean palette for the summertime. So those are some ideas. And then, of course, we're probably going to be switching out our wardrobe soon, right? So our closet might get a bit of an overhaul as well. Well, we put the winter things away and start to bring out the warm weather clothes. So those are some ideas that I have for you there.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm definitely inspired and because
Good.
my creativity is very low, so I'm really enjoying learning just even a few of those tips. It was amazing.
Good.
So as our you and me together redesigning health and home, if I was to say, what are you redesigning right now? What would you think of?
Yeah, well, I actually am working on our bedroom. So, like I mentioned, we moved to this house a little less than 2 years ago. And because the bedroom, again, is such a private space, I never really got to it. And so I'm going to be freshening up with some paint and doing that real deep cleaning and decluttering and just freshening up some of the lighting and furnishing that we have in there. Right now, we just have, your standard old fan, white fan. So we're looking to install something that's a little more attractive, a nice chandelier in there. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to doing that little spruce up makeover.
Yeah, makeover. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. Now, where can, now that our voices are out into the world
Mhm.
here, where can people also find you besides redesigning health and home?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So I go by Homestyle with Kerri, and my name is Kerri because there's so many ways to spell it. And so that's how you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. And also my website is homestylewithkerri.com. So if you want to check anything out or come and see what I'm doing, those are the ways you can find me.
I will definitely be following you. I follow you now as it is, but I will be looking for all of those new posts and suggestions that you will have to offer in the future. Well, this
Excellent.
has been amazing. Do you have any kind of wrap up thoughts about redesigning spring?
I think there's just not really any specific rules. I think people get a little bit kind of freaked out about, rules and that sort of thing. When you go into the store and you're drawn to something in particular, that's for you. That's what you should be decorating your home with. This is the things that you love. Um, but I am also wanted to mention that I'm very excited because I believe next time I'm going to be interviewing you about spring ideas for fitness and all that kind of, warm weather gear and that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that very much on our next podcast.
Yeah, well, this been a lovely conversation. You are delightful. And yeah, we'll be back with our next episode coming up soon within a week. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Meg. You're delightful as well. And I look forward to our next chat.
Absolutely. See you next time.
See you. Bye bye.